This is St Ninian's church in Stonehouse. It probably dates from at least the 9th century, although the first written record appears to be about 1267. It's likely that the name Stonehouse comes from the existence of this church, as it would have been the first stone-built building or house in the district. The church underwent a lot of restoration in 1734, but by 1772 it was abandoned as a new St Ninian's church was built in New Street, near the centre of the town. All that remains of the old church now are the west-facing gable end with its belfry. The stone from the rest of the building was probably used partly to build the new church, to expand the existing manse, and maybe to improve the cemetery wall. In June 1679, the Battle of Drumclog took place. This was between the Covenanters and the king's troops. The king believed that he had a divine right to be head of the church, but the Covenanters believed that only God could hold that position. James Thomson's memorial is known locally as the Bloodstone. That's because on the top, just beneath a carved skull, there's a hole the size of a finger, and in wet weather, if you put your finger inside, it comes out stained red, as if it was bleeding. This is because there's an inclusion of ironstone within it. The battle was one of the few where the Covenanters were victorious. They were fighting against bloody clavers, that is, John Graham of Claverhouse. One of the Covenanters was killed at the battlefield, whilst another 5 were taken from the battlefield, mortally wounded. One of those was James Thomson, and he was buried in a first of all unmarked grave at St Ninian's in Stonehouse. James Thomson had been a farmer, living and working at Tanhill Farm, just across the parish boundary. Because of the sensitivities regarding Covenanters, it wasn't until 1734 the first engraved gravestone was placed at his burial site. In 1832, a larger tabletop gravestone was placed next to it. James's wife and his son John were eventually captured and were imprisoned at Blackness Castle, though they were eventually released. In 1880, a commemorative service took place at St Ninian's Kirk. This was to be a memorial of the 200 years since the Battle of Drumclog. Over 2,000 people were in attendance. Another Covenanter with links to the St Ninian's Kirk was James Robertson. He nailed a notice to the door of the church, extolling the virtues of the Covenanting cause. He was eventually captured, and he was hung at the Grassmarket in Edinburgh. It's a local tradition that the Covenanters built an escape tunnel from the old church so they could quickly and secretly escape if the king's troops came on the scene. The graveyard was plagued by bodysnatchers, so it's not known how many of the old gravestones actually have a burial still beneath.